What just happened in Los Angeles? I'll tell you what happened. The Dodgers just detonated a bomb inside their own clubhouse. Manager Dave Roberts didn't just make a roster move. He made a statement. He permanently removed Mookie Betts from the active roster, shipped Robleskey and Rushing to Houston in a trade, and did it all in a single afternoon. This isn't a slump decision. This isn't a rest day. This is a full organizational reset, and the baseball world is still trying to process what it just witnessed. And Betts didn't walk away quietly either. Not even close. When Betts handed back his jersey, number 50, he looked Roberts in the eye and said 4 words that are going to echo through Dodger Stadium for years. Then I'll take number 7. Number 7. That's not a random number. That's a declaration. That's a man telling his organization, his fans, and the entire league that he is not finished. He is not going anywhere. He is reinventing himself right in front of our eyes. And the timing of all of this, with an ace-class infielder now joining the Dodgers roster, and Shohei Ohtani making what many are calling the most shocking statement of his career directed at Betts, this story is just getting started. Let's start at the beginning. How does a manager permanently remove a player like Mookie Betts from a roster? Because on paper, this feels almost impossible to justify. It feels that way until you look at what Roberts has been watching from the dugout every single day. Betts has been struggling. Not just with his bat, not just with his fielding, but with his presence. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. What I mean is that when a player of Betts' caliber starts going through a rough stretch, the entire team feels it. The energy shifts. The lineup loses its edge. Roberts saw that and made a call that very few managers in baseball history would have the nerve to make. But permanently removing him, not a stint on the IL, not a benching, not a demotion, permanently removing him from the roster is a different level of severity entirely. And that's exactly what makes this decision so significant. Roberts isn't sending a message to Betts alone. He's sending a message to every single player wearing Dodger blue. He is saying that no contract, no legacy, no all-star appearance protects you from accountability. That is a manager who has complete organizational backing and complete confidence in where this team is going. You don't make that move unless the front office is standing firmly behind you. And then pairing that with trading Robleskey and Rushing to the Astros in the same window, what does that tell you about the Dodgers' intentions? It tells you the Dodgers are clearing space. Not just roster space. Financial space, locker room space, and most importantly, mental space. When you trade 2 players with futures like Robleskey and Rushing, you are giving something up. You are paying a real price. That means whatever is coming in return, or whatever direction the organization is pivoting toward, they believe it is worth that cost. That is a franchise making a long-term bet, not a short-term panic move. Now let's talk about what Betts did next. Because this is where the story shifts entirely. He hands back the jersey. He doesn't fight it publicly. He doesn't go on social media. He walks up and says, "Then I'll take number 7. What is going through his mind at that moment? I've seen a lot of athletes respond to adversity over the years. Some crumble. Some disappear. Some force trades. What Betts did is something completely different. He absorbed the blow, stood upright, and responded with identity. Number 7 isn't just a number to him. It represents a fresh start, a new chapter, and a refusal to allow someone else's decision to define his career. From a psychological standpoint, that gesture communicates everything to his teammates. It tells them that Mookie Betts is not a victim of this situation. He is choosing to own it. And in a clubhouse full of elite competitors, players like Ohtani, Freeman, and now this new infielder joining the roster, that kind of response earns respect instantly. You can't fake that kind of composure. Either you have it or you don't. And in that moment, Betts showed everyone in that organization exactly who he is. And Roberts himself, watching that response from across the room, understood immediately that his decision didn't break Mookie Betts. It woke him up. Because here is the truth. Roberts didn't make that decision because he dislikes Mookie Betts. He made it because he believes in what this team can become. And when Betts responded the way he did, it actually validated Roberts' judgment. He knew Betts had this in him. He just needed something to light the fire back up. Now let's shift to what this trade brought in. An ace-class infielder joining the Dodgers roster. When you combine that addition with the talent already in that locker room, what does the defensive and offensive picture look like for Los Angeles now? It looks terrifying for the rest of the National League. Genuinely terrifying. Because what the Dodgers have done is plug the one positional gap that has quietly been a concern all season. Having an elite infielder who can control the middle of the diamond changes how Roberts can construct his lineup, his defensive alignments, and his late-game strategy entirely. And the effect on Ohtani is immediate. It takes pressure off of him. And when you take pressure off Ohtani, he doesn't relax, he elevates. That's the thing about players of his caliber. When the supporting cast around them gets stronger, they don't coast. They raise their ceiling. Ohtani this season is already pitching with an ERA under 1. He is batting over .400 since late May. If you now surround him with an elite defensive infielder who also contributes in the lineup, you are building a machine that the rest of baseball simply cannot match. The ripple effect of one roster move expanding outward through the entire roster. The Astros get Robleskey and Rushing, 2 talented players, but the Dodgers got the piece they needed right now, in a pennant race window that may not come around again. And now the moment everyone is really talking about. Ohtani's statement to Betts. What exactly did he say, and why is it being described as shocking? What makes it shocking isn't aggression. It isn't criticism. What makes it shocking is the raw honesty and the weight behind it. Ohtani told Betts directly that he didn't need the number on the back of the jersey to prove who he was. That number 7 meant nothing unless Betts was willing to do what was necessary to make it mean something. Coming from Ohtani, a man of very few public words, that statement carries enormous weight. Because Ohtani doesn't talk to fill silence. Every word he chooses is intentional. When a man who has already quietly won over an entire league with his performance, not his words, takes the time to say something directly to a teammate, every person in that clubhouse listens. And what he said to Betts wasn't a consolation. It was a challenge. He was telling Betts, the jersey change means nothing. The only thing that matters now is what you do next. A challenge from one legend to another. And that right there may be the most important moment of the Dodgers season. Not the trade. Not the roster move. The moment Ohtani looked at Mookie Betts and essentially said, I believe you can come back, but you have to earn it. That is the kind of exchange that changes careers. Betts now has something to prove, a new number on his back, and the words of the greatest baseball player on the planet ringing in his ears. The Dodgers just became the most interesting team in baseball. They already were. They just turned the volume all the way up.